Welcome, everybody, to GrayVee On The City, Episode 1.
Every episode of GrayVee On The City is going to start out with, what's the gravy? And the gravy is local or Canadian beverages of the alcoholic variety. So today I am drinking a cherry gin from Dillon's. And that's from Beamsville, Ontario. And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Juicy Ass by Flying Monkeys.
Juicy Ass.
From Barrie, Ontario. It's my favorite beer, so I figured it'd be a good one to kick
it's
off
also
the first episode
super fun to order in local
Yeah.
bars, which lots of local bars have.
Yeah, quite a few, which is nice.
That line. Mm-hmm. And they do lots of different stuff. And they have like milkshake IPA and stuff like that.
It was a name that got me to order it. I mean, you see Juicy Ass on a menu, you have to try it, right?
I think so, yeah. Especially like because we were like IPA fiends for a while. We were like, what is an IPA? I love it. Because when we first I think we first started like hating it, started off hating IPAs.
I didn't start liking it until after I met you, actually.
Really?
I used to hate it. IPAs.
I think because we were just like, oh, that's a strong beer. It has more alcohol in it. Wonderful. So we've recently moved. Well, I guess it's not that recent.
Yeah, a few
in
months
November,
ago.
We moved to Vanier, and I feel like Vanier has like such a bad reputation with people, but I feel like it's certain crowds. Like if I ask like government workers, and I say I live in Vanier, they're like, whoa. Sketchy.
Yeah, same here.
But if you ask like the crack addict like down the street, she's like, yeah, Vanier is great.
Yeah,
it's a great home.
If you ask anyone that's actually lived here, it's fine. But anyone who has a reputation of being a good citizen is
exactly. It's the good citizens,
Yeah.
and the good citizens we all ultimately equate that to government workers. I'm like, they're good people.
Yeah,
don't mess
must
with them, especially not their pay.
Yeah.
They will protest. But I feel like the buses, and I met this guy at the bus stop, just randomly. I think he was homeless. No, he wasn't. No, he's actually, he takes the same bus route I do every morning. And he said to me, he's like, he's like, the bus routes suck in Vanier because poor people don't complain. And I was like, that is such a powerful statement, but I don't know if we could statistically back it up.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking like, oh, how could we prove this? What if I ride every single bus route multiple times?
Compared to the Glebe
we
bus
do a
routes
certain algorithm, multiple regression, and we figure it out.
Yeah.
And then still, I don't know that we could prove it.
You always see like complaints on Facebook, right? About OC Transpo and stuff. And
I feel like it's more the West End. The West End.
Yeah.
Those people complain a lot.
Yeah. West End and Glebe. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's funny. Well, I mean, like they call it, some people call it the no-show 12. We take the 12 and the 15. Well, I do. Yeah. You take what?
In the morning, I take the 9, which is pretty good. At night, I take the 7, which is hit and miss. Sometimes it doesn't show up.
I feel like we just become like complacent. Like if you talk to someone from Toronto, they're kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
Because, you just accept it. And the bigger the city, I think the more you accept it. But I feel like Ottawa, we're just like, this is wrong. I will go to Parliament.
This is the capital.
I will protest this.
Yeah.
But I think the funniest is like this winter, this guy, like, you have this dialogue in your head when the bus is running late, and like we all have the same dialogue. We're like swearing, we're checking the time, and we know kind of when it's going to show up, but we're still ticked off that from the instant like we're at the bus stop, it doesn't show up immediately.
It's not here when I want it to be here.
So this guy, the bus was obviously late, and he sees the bus coming down the street, and it's kind of maneuvering because downtown, right? So there's like parked cars and everything like that, and it's kind of snaking its way, and it gets like stuck because another bus is coming by, and he literally just shouts out, just turn your wheel, buddy, just turn it. And it was just so amazing because everyone is thinking it, and he just yelled it out.
Yells out everyone's inner monologue. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great.
You have to be that. But I think we've all been there where we just like kind of like mentally spiral.
Yeah. Well, I have that app on my phone. I think it's called Bus Buddy, and it'll show you a map of where the bus is.
Oh.
And sometimes it'll just show the bus in one spot. You're like, why aren't you moving? Like, what is in front of you?
Like
I can't see you, but I know
like
you can
with
move.
Uber Eats, you're just like, where's
exactly.
Where's my shawarma? Why do you keep doing U-turns? I don't know. And then it'll trick you. It'll be like 1 minute away, and then it's like 5.
Yeah, it just jumps up for some reason. It went around the block a couple times.
He's like, just kidding. Here we go.
Yeah.
But I think that those spirals are like super unique to people. And to a certain extent, we want to be quiet. We want to like keep that in. But I just love it when people like actually just come out there and like they do it. And this is why I really appreciate mindfulness, and I think it's great. But this is why I think that if we were all to be mindful like all the time, we wouldn't have these great moments.
That's true.
Because you would just be like, that's a bad thought. Throw it away. Throw it away.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I feel like it's become like that modern day way to kind of like edit behavior. And I have a problem with that. But I don't like, I love like the idea. I love it for therapy. I love it like for spirituality. I think like in its roots, it's really, really great.
It has its place.
It has its place.
Right.
But I feel like I don't know, like for me, like to bring like something like cognitive behavioral therapy or psychotherapy into the workplace, like that's weird, right?
If it's enforced upon you like by your management, it's a little strange.
Yeah,
like
they're
en masse.
You need and I think that's like, to me, that's kind of like the route that it's going. Like we're taking mindfulness and we're saying, no, we need to do this. Like you need to get your brain in order, and like, you know. Am I wrong about this? I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think
weird.
so either, because I looked it up and there's a book about it.
Oh, okay, well there you go.
So that means I'm
There's
right.
a book, you must be right.
Exactly. It's called Mick Mindfulness. It's by Ronald E. Purser.
Mick Mindfulness?
Mick Mindfulness.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you were to go to McDonald's but
order
instead of
some mindfulness,
McDonald's, it was like a mindfulness guru, and you just ate
Can I get a
it.
6-piece Mick Mindfulness, please?
Exactly. Exactly. And he talks about Karl Marx.
Yeah.
And the commodification of mindfulness.
Right.
And right then and there, I was like, yes.
I'm in.
Yes. This is justification for my degree in sociology, where all I learned is to be critical of everything. Oh, something's good for you and mass produced? Nah, can't be.
Yeah.
We have to criticize. But I mean, I think that there's something to be said for taking something that's meant as a therapeutical thing, stripping it down and just throwing it to the masses. And I think that's what he's saying, you know, is this going to be a way of like programming people? And like, I have a bit of a problem with that, because I don't think people have agency. People know when they're being programmed, and they know when something's good. So I think that that's kind of a load of BS. But I do get what he's saying.
We could argue like with the whole, you know, World War II Germany situation. A little different.
Whoa.
Well,
Whoa.
they didn't exactly know what they were getting.
The World War II bomb. It's a metaphorical bomb. What was that you were saying?
No, just you say people don't always or people will always know when they're being led astray from people in power.
Yeah.
But they didn't really, the citizens didn't exactly know what was going on. Or
Well,
they were being manipulated on a high level.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think that like that was covering up the truth, right? And I think that that's a good point, because we should be truth seekers. So we should be like, no, I appreciate mindfulness being offered.
Yeah.
And I appreciate people using it. But I think that we need to be critical and, you know, interrogate, you know, use it and apply it for ways that it should be, right?
Yeah.
And for ways that matter to us, not to operate like that all the time. Because I think the biggest thing is, you know, that he talks about is stress. And he talks about how are we using mindfulness to cover up the crazy amount of stress that neoliberalism causes,
right?
You know, to the capitalist system as a whole, and that whole philosophy of, you know, privatization, financial austerity, individualization. So are we essentially just using that as a tool so that people are like, I'm not stressed out?
Right.
Yeah.
But shouldn't proper mindfulness identify what the stress is and how to overcome it?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So if your workplace is saying mindfulness, ignore the stress, then that's a weird manipulation of.
Yeah, and I think that the principles are good, and I think that we should confront it. And I don't think that it's bad that workplaces are bringing it in at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, when people are like shelling out tons of money, and corporations are operating on this whole idea, then maybe we need to be like, okay, but like, why? I don't know. Yeah. It's an interesting read.
Suspicious, yeah.
It's definitely an interesting read. And I think that like the whole point of it is I think his main beef is that he's a Buddhist practitioner.
Right.
So him and this other buddy Buddhist,
buddy Buddhist,
they're like, man, we like had this stuff and now you're taking it and you're like selling it.
Yeah.
Why didn't we think of it? We should totally be against this. Let's write a book.
We didn't do first.
And literally, I'm pretty sure the two of them were like, let's a Huffington Post article, I think is where it started. Like, who will listen to us? The Huffington Post. Because they listen to everybody. But no, I mean, I think it's an interesting concept, this concept of taking spirituality and just like mass spreading it. Mm-hmm. But isn't that what Jesus did?
That's true. They sell a lot of Bibles out there. So
Jesus, if only Marx knew.
And all those yoga teachers and.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that I'm not against it or going to really eat that up and say this is my stance or whatever. But I think that it's an interesting perspective, and I think that let's look at mindfulness as the therapeutical thing,
Yeah.
And I don't know. Therapy in the workplace. I don't know.
I can imagine my boss trying to push that on me. That's a weird thing.
Well, yeah.
It seems like something you have to decide for yourself.
But like, I feel like how would you apply mindfulness to your job?
It's a good question.
Don't stab yourself with the scalpel. For those of you that don't know, Gray is a sterilization technician.
Medical device reprocessing technician would be the official term, I guess.
I guess you could be mindful in anything, right?
Well, you kind of have to be. You have to like grab an instrument here so to make sure you don't stab yourself in a certain way. Long story short, my job entails cleaning, inspecting, and sterilizing surgical equipment after surgery to get it ready for the next surgery. And it's got to make sure you don't poke yourself with things. And
I think literally like when you told me that, the first question I asked you was about colonoscopy. I was like, oh, that's cool. So
do you see any poop? Of course, your mind goes straight to poop.
That's where our conversation always leads.
Always to the butthole.
It's so true. But yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Just, I can't be happy. I can't see something and be happy about it. Especially if it's popular. I'm like, ugh, what are all these people doing? Why is yoga popular? Ugh, I don't know. It's got to be something wrong.
Especially if management.
Because I can't do it. So if I can't do it.
Have you ever tried yoga?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
But I just know I couldn't do it. Defeat us before we ever begin. Oh boy.
Yeah.
But like that's good. It's positive things. As long as it's positive for you and it's working out, then that's good. But if it's meant to like, I don't know, like do a little bit of brainwashing, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think the whole thing is like confronting the situation we're in. And like you were saying, the principles of mindfulness is identifying the stressors, and then going outward from that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How to work your mind around them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I don't know. I just don't know that you could do that if you paid like $800 for a course and forego your mortgage.
Yeah. I feel like you don't need a course for it though. I feel like a
therapist is is great. A great coach. You need like a guiding.
Yeah, you need an outside influence.
But I like that meditation is becoming a practice and it's becoming available and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. I think it's very approachable and healing for people. But
it's actually something I want to get back into. used to do it like years and years
Like,
ago.
I don't know. You're just such a calm person.
Yeah. But I could be calmer. Imagine
Oh
that.
boy, I don't know. I don't know.
You think I'm quiet now? Let me tell you.
Let's bring it out. He hasn't spoken a word in a year. This is the most peaceful relationship I've been in.
I try to start fights, but just
Thank goodness for meditation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are animals like mindful? I don't think so.
I don't know. Depends. I guess there's all obviously different levels of intelligences within animals, right? Like a worm, I doubt is thinking about too much. It's got doesn't even have eyes. It has like photoreceptors to see like, am I above ground or am I underground? That's about it. And then it just smells like, oh, this smells good. I'll eat that. That's about it. It probably doesn't have a sense of eye, just eating. Sun down.
I feel like that's us on the weekends. So. What? Sun, eat, sleep.
Yeah. But an octopus, like, I was reading this book a while back about how intelligent they actually are. Which is weird because they only live for 4 years for something that is that intelligent. You would think it would have a longer lifespan. But like they've had them in labs and stuff, and they can recognize people, human beings, and they pick which ones are their favorite, and they pick which ones they don't like.
Like, how do you know that?
Because when the ones they don't like walk by, they'll spit water at them.
Like, what if the ones that they don't like just happen to smell funky? Like, have they...
Maybe. Is that not a reason to not like someone?
Well, I've met some people that smell funky that are okay.
And you didn't spit water at them?
No.
Oh.
I don't know. So, like, what do? They put electric on their... Who are these octopuses that they're
well,
keeping...
the book I was reading, the guy was studying them in the wild.
Oh.
So he actually went to this place that they discovered. In the book, he called it Octopolis. Because it was like a small community of octopi.
Octopolis.
But I looked it up online, and maybe it's a different spot, but they called it Octlantis. So maybe it's a rival community. Who knows? Off of Australia.
Okay.
But it's like a group of about 20 octopi living in this small area, which is sort of what they thought was rare. I'm not sure how common it is. But octopi are usually thought to be more solitary animals.
Oh.
But in these communities, they live together and they fight a lot. They get along
like,
that
do
much.
they hold tentacles? What do you call them?
Well, when they walk by, sometimes they'll fist bump to like reach out the tentacle and like.
That's where we got it from. The octopus.
Yeah, our ancient ancestors. Yeah.
Who knew? Just from studying them.
Yeah. But yeah, like they're really advanced in their intelligence because they use tools in a lot of different ways for shelter, for camouflage and all that, protection. Like that, like he saw one octopus take 2 halves of coconut and like completely cover himself to hide himself from predators, which is pretty advanced.
Is that
intelligence
really like a good defense mechanism though? No,
you try breaking through a coconut.
I'm like, not to knock the octopus or anything, but like, buddy.
What horses are made of.
But wait, octopus.
For any Monty Python fans
What
out
is
there.
it, like a sea coconut? You like found a coconut.
No, I think it just fell in the water from a tree. I don't think there are sea coconuts.
The coconut tree in the sea.
Coconut seaweeds. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I guess. Sure.
But yeah, this octopolis, a big part of it was made up of discarded clamshells. They ate so many clams and brought them back to their den that they started making little mounds. They would build dens out of their clam carcasses. That's how they think octopolis started.
I was like thinking, I don't know. My mind went really, really dark, and I went to like, if cannibalistic tribes would do the same thing. Well,
Just make houses out of bones and
the
things.
bones, yeah. I don't know. I went to a dark.
A quincy
place.
out of bones.
Quincy, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is an igloo. Everyone else calls it an igloo.
It's a North Bay igloo.
It's a North Bay igloo.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist outside of North Bay. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up. You remember when we went to that Neanderthal? I feel like they make that word like intentionally hard to prove like who's more evolved. And I am not.
Who still has some Neanderthal DNA in them?
Exactly, Neanderthal.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like a lot of like the things that we saw in that exhibit, like, I don't know, they were pretty far reaching.
Yeah.
They were like, it was like smashed up stones, and they were like, this shows primitive art.
Yeah. And arrowheads and things.
So like, how do we know?
There were definitely some arrowheads in there, but there were a lot of just random shapes, I'm pretty sure.
But like, how do we know that the octopus scientists are not the same? Where they're just like, this is promising. This is an artist octopus. He drew a Picasso with sea coconuts.
Coconuts and clamshells.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they need to put electrodes.
Yeah. I don't think they're making any art yet, but give it a few years maybe.
Like, how do you make art? Well, I guess you can do it with the sand and your tentacles or whatever.
Did you ever see that Planet Earth with the fish that makes the little circle hut?
What
it's not art.
What do I do when you put on Planet Earth?
Walk out of the room with a picture.
It's like, oh, okay. Let's go find a serial killer documentary to watch. That's cool. That's what I do. All right. Take a little drink.
Little gravy.
A little grape. That's actually really good. It's got a nice
Try.
little buzz there. Doesn't even taste like alcohol. That's what everyone says.
I feel like with that bubbly, it tastes like cherry medicine or something.
No, like that's what everyone says about cherry flavored things, and I just feel like it's not accurate because I've tasted the cherry medicine.
Yeah, must have some extra taste buds detecting more
Oh,
frequencies.
is that what it is?
Yeah,
You're
it
just
must
more
be.
advanced.
Or taste receptors.
But you also like cilantro, don't you? So.
In very small amounts. I'm starting to like it. I used to hate it.
So I feel like if you like used to hate it and now you're starting to like it, you're actually like regressing in your taste buds.
I feel like it's advancing.
Isn't it that people that taste cilantro and they don't like it, they're just like superior?
I've never heard that.
Like we're just like super evolved. Oh boy. All right. What time are we?
Let's see.
Are people sick of listening to us, do you
doubt
think?
it. How could you get sick of listening to us?
I don't know.
We're beautiful.
Pretty fun conversations.
Yeah. This time's weird. Well, sure. Probably 15 minutes maybe. Not even.
Really?
I don't know.
15 minutes. I feel like I've been talking to you forever.
Let's go meditate now.
Exactly. Well, I would like to say thank you, everybody, for listening to the first episode of GrayVee in the City.
Yep.
And we actually are going to start bringing in guests.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this cool little thing that I'm going to offer if anyone does want to be a guest on our show. We call them persons of interest. Then I'm actually going to create a raffle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm going to create like a gift basket full of awesome things. So if you do want to come on our show and you successfully come on our show, come to be interviewed on our show, then we will put your name in the raffle. Thank you, everybody, for the first episode of GrayVee on the City. Signing out. Cheers.
Cheers.